I think Ultraman Teo episode 5 quietly, or not so quietly, depending on how you look at it, set up something long and ongoing for the show. We have Kanna, who is able to, after spending some time investigating Pucchi's pod, is able to figure out how it works. How it works based on gestures, and then later on, as things get more intense, it seems to work based on will. I don't think she was successfully doing gestures when she was doing this to kind of flail away, because she's doing that bowling game in the arcade, which I guess makes sense. But anyway, I think that the fact that we've spent so much time in Pucchi's pod, and that Kanna was able to figure out some things about it. There's a secret mark over here that you can put your hand over this thing and cause it to go invisible or visible, that you can ascend into it and descend into it by raising your hand and then activate different parts of it, is laying the groundwork for what's going to happen later on in the show with the UTTF. Kanna is I want to say she was introduced as a bioengineering and like electronics major kind of person. And she said last episode that she just loves machines, getting up close to machines and really seeing how they work and getting the chance to examine them. And she spent all last episode, episode 4, examining the pillars around the pod. And then here we see that she's able to gain some mastery over the technology. I think the seed that's being planted in this episode is that the UTTF will be able to do the same thing. And I think that they are going to have researchers who adapt the technology to fight against Teo. And I think the reason that they're going to do that is there's multiple aspects to it. One, he let this kaiju go, this tentacle kaiju. You could say he was a tentacool kaiju. Anyway, he lets this kaiju go because he sees it as more of a pet, something that just wants affection, wants attention. And it doesn't really make sense to me that he gives it, he tickles it and plays with it for a few minutes and then it goes away happy and it's just going to be content for 100 years, thousands of years, I don't know. So I can totally understand the UTTF not being happy with that, not being content with that. Any kaiju threat they see, any alien threat they see, they may say, let's just kill it. Let's say, shoot first and let God sort things out afterwards. Which is a reasonable, when you're facing extinction level threats, it's a reasonable thing to do. It may not be the best thing, but it is reasonable, I think. If you disagree with me, leave me a comment. Let's talk about it. But one, he's letting the kaiju go. Two, he's been protecting Pucchi. I've had the sense all along, and sorry, spoilers. There is confirmation, I believe, from scans that Pucchi turns into a kaiju. Possibly in episode 7, but she didn't hear it from me. A big kaiju. And I can see that happening, and it feels like it's what wants to happen in the show. And even if him instantly transforming into a giant kaiju isn't what happens, and instead he matures or grows into one, that seems like the natural consequence. The only thing I can think, the only question or uncertainty I have with that is there a going back? Can he turn into little Pucchi again or not? Is he a kaiju with two forms? Is he like a Digimon or a Pokemon or whatever? Well, more like a Digimon because they can go back and forth. Pokemon can't. That just seems kind of interesting to me. I don't think I've encountered that yet. We have kaiju who have a small size, or aliens, like Alien Baltan, can be small and then be gigantic. But can alien Pucchis? I don't know. But those two things alone are reasons why the UTTF should want to have the capability to countermand his actions, and then also just to counter Teo at all. And also Teo has very powerful destructive attacks we've seen him do. And that kind of power itself can be a threat. And again, I can understand why they would feel threatened and why they would want to do that. And I think that it's going to be something that they do. And I mean, the pod might not be capable of doing that in and of itself, but maybe it's part of a system, and decoding how it works, they'll be able to take different elements from it and apply them to different stuff. Like if they had ways to cloak ships or weapons, or ships with weapons, if they were cloaking planes and sending them after him to shoot him, that could be, one application. It has gravity control. Maybe they could make gravity cannon, gravity guns, whatever, to use against him, or maybe they could increase the gravity to like pin him down to the ground and do whatever. Teo hasn't really run into too much trouble fighting yet, so maybe while they're developing weapons or applications for the technology that they get from the pod, they will also be observing him throughout the different fights that he has, and they'll find a weakness, and then they'll figure out, hey, we can exploit this weakness, or we can, attack him in these ways with these applications that we've pulled from the pod, which I think would be pretty cool to see. And yeah, it's just a sense I get that that's what's going to happen. And I think that could be fun. I think that could be interesting, especially because Teo is so nice. Ibuki's so nice. It could be interesting to see him get mad, and not just run away and defend himself, but like actually push back hard and be frustrated that they're attacking him. That could be cool. But anyway, I think that's a really neat thing that happened in this episode. It definitely wasn't the mainstay of the episode. It was kind of a hidden detail. And I think the core episode had a nice emotional core to it, especially if you're a pet owner, dog owner specifically, and you have a dog that you loved and cared for and then passed away, and you had to deal with that. It definitely works for Kanna. It helps sell her story, and I like how it builds upon the last episode and how it brings her to a place where she's now emotionally available and open to being part of the astronomy club again and helping to take care of Pucchi, like they had kind of shifted their focus to doing. And I think it's interesting because it's pulling Ibuki back in as well, and Emma and Kanna, along with Pucchi, are now this solid core, and we can see how long it takes Rintaro and Betsy to come back in, and for the astronomy club to be an actual thing that carries forward through the rest of the show. And I think it's interesting that not only is something in the subtext in the background of the show being built and being seeded in this episode, it's my conjecture at least, but we also have the reformation and the tightening of the circle and the solid friend group forming from the astronomy club members happening in this episode in a more active way, and Kanna's a linchpin to that. And I think it's interesting because she's kind of a linchpin for both movements, this social emotional movement for the cast, and then also this mechanical movement for the UTTF, which can bring conflict to the show later. And then hopefully that conflict will partly be helped and stopped and countered by the relationships and the care, the attachment, the doing stuff that the astrology club will do. Anyway, let me know what you think, or astronomy club, sorry. Should be astrology, but that's a discussion for another time. Anyway, let me know what you thought about this episode in general, what you thought about what I had to say to it, or say about it, and to it. Drop a comment for me, letting me know what you think. And while you're there, check the pinned comment where you can find a link to my inspector's notes where you can dive deeper into this episode with me. There's going to be all sorts of extra stuff here that wasn't here. So look forward to that. Until next time, folks, this is MJ with Henshin Inspection and Going Ultra signing out.